I have little doubt that we'll be able to produce machines and computer programs that will behave in a fashion that we speak of as intelligent, that these will be of great aid to man in terms of relieving him of intellectual work that is not fit for human production.
All the things that we take for granted in our modern world, they all make our lives incredibly easier. Not only we don't have to do most of the mundane, insignificant, and repetitive tasks, technology does it way better than we ever could. Technology has revolutionized everything from medical industry to solving world's potential resource shortage, from traveling from one place to another at insane speeds to minimizing crime. Needless to say, every aspect of our society has overall improved due to these advancements. Great. We already knew that, so what's the point? Have you ever thought, why do these technologies exist? What was the driving force behind this and most advancements? Well, obviously making people's lives better, right? Maybe. In 1921, chemists discovered that tetraethyl lead was what we needed to solve the fuel problem. Yes, lead. In the years following this discovery, lead was being used in motorbikes, cars, and planes. Workers started dying at these lead production factories. The exhaust from these vehicles was deadly and toxic. Just that alone caused severe diseases such as heart disease, stroke, and cancer. This discovery had repercussions for decades to come and can still be felt in some parts of the world. While it did revolutionize the industry, what was the leading cause behind it? Monetary gain. Midgley and team responsible for bringing this to the world were making very low profit on ethanol blended fuel, so they intentionally changed lead's name to ethyl. In 1980s, two young minds were trying to start their own software company, Paul Allen and Bill Gates. Allen came up with the name for their company, Micro from microcomputers and Soft from software. They removed the hyphen in later years and the name Microsoft stuck. The main motive behind the company was business, or in other words, financial gain. Nothing wrong with that, of course. IBM got the attention of Microsoft and asked them to design an operating system for IBM PC. DOS was running on IBM PCs, and this deal is why Microsoft became a household name. From 2014, Gates resigned from Microsoft and started several new ventures. All of these have to do something with the environment, renewable energy, climate change, food sources, research, transport, and land. Gates has also been advocating for these noble causes globally, requesting the governments re-examine their processes. Amazing causes. Gates owns massive stakes within these new companies, and when governments on global scale do decide to go green, these companies will be leading the charge in providing equipment, technologies, and services for the right price. A financial transaction, if you will, but it will be good for environment and society. In the early 1990s, a young kid made Synapse Media Player. Just a kid starting out in software. This media player, however, was different from its competitors. It used machine learning to learn about the user's listening habits. That kid would go on to establish Facebook. You might be able to see a pattern there. According to Mr. Zuckerberg's friends, he had promised them to build them a network, but instead used their ideas for Facebook. Later, he allegedly hacked a journalist who wanted to expose this story. In 2018, Facebook was accused of sharing data of millions of its users with Cambridge Analytica, a consultancy company. Meta offered $725 million for settling the case 4 years later. Now Meta is trying to develop a virtual world in which you can fully immerse yourself in, so not only you can be closer to advertisements as much as possible, but also get charged for things that don't exist. A virtual world completely overseen by its CEO. All of these mentioned events are not similar, neither in intent nor in outcome. But we as people come up with these ideas to accomplish different things that make us redundant, ironically. Except for a few key people who do come up with these ideas, do implementation and mass rollouts. Countless numbers of apps and ventures exist for investors and entrepreneurs, and I consider technological advancement, especially nowadays, to be a side product. The main purpose is financial gain. Up until recently, progression in AI has been consistent. The core idea behind it is having algorithms and sub-algorithms performing their tasks and choosing from a vast number of variables. Then retention models came into play. Developers and researchers made models, retrained them, and put them through millions of iterations to learn. The programs made from these models are incredible. So that was the state of AI till now. OpenAI made the model GPT-3, an excellent tool which can follow instructions and execute complex commands from the user. However, it had its flaws. One of the biggest things it struggled with was context. The company kept retraining the models, and eventually GPT-3 was surpassed by ChatGPT. The development leap that I felt from 3 to ChatGPT is unlike anything I've witnessed before. If you're interested in following AI progress and want breakdown on its abilities, please check out 2 Minutes paper. Just a couple of weeks back, I signed in and started talking to the ChatGPT. I gave it questions ranging from philosophical concepts to quantum mechanics, theoretical physics to astrophysics. I was absolutely shocked. It recognized what I was talking about, what I was asking it, and was able to maintain a competent context. Recognizing jargon from valid questions was also a no-brainer. Truly feels like a pinnacle of human innovation. As this wasn't enough, I started giving it programming prompts, questions, and projects. I was about to fall out of my chair when I saw its responses. Saying that ChatGPT is absolutely amazing is an understatement. Some things that you should know, however. It is transformative architecture and it still works on human feedback, so it runs on reinforced learning from human feedback. The model is executed, it provides a response, and then a human gives it feedback, and then it runs again with that feedback implemented. It's still a far cry from an AI that is able to absorb the available information and arrange it contextually and comprehensibly based on the prompt. A lot of the questions were not answered or answered with the same formulaic composition, or they were just wrong. This is what worries me. To quote 2 Minute papers, don't think where we are now, but rather where we'll be. The model is already developed and trained. Imagine a global clustered network of models responsible for various tasks. Everything that we do in this reality can be boiled down to a series of steps, or in other words, every single choice of ours can be fundamentally translated to algorithmic decision. In the not-so-distant future, artificial intelligence will be app developers, software engineers, drivers, project managers, construction workers, and so much more. Think about it. It makes sense from every single angle except for human. For these AI workers, companies don't have to have physical offices, human resource departments, annual paid leaves, personal paid leaves, or paternity paid leaves. No need for time off or weekend off, no conflicts at the workplace, no turnover, no recruitment, no salaries. A lot of big name companies try their hardest to brag about how inclusive and diverse they are, but every single time it's just for PR purposes. They won't do anything to support the actual causes, but they will ensure that they get the best coverage on social medias. Even when they do seemingly support a cause, it's for PR purposes and a very minimal effort. But can you imagine if they weren't all these? They'd be out of business. Financial gain is at the very core. For businesses, it just makes sense, no matter the inhuman implications. Companies would just have to pay for these AI workers once and let the productivity be at its maximum. But if that future becomes reality, these AI will be subscription-based rather than a one-off purchase. You can also pay more to upgrade these and they will perform tasks seemingly beyond their capabilities. A future where only a handful of tech companies are at the front and center of controlling everything. Something that transcends governments at a global level. But that does make you wonder, is there a contingency plan for the masses? Do we have one? You know how we have emergency evacuation procedures at our places and fire extinguishers if there's an emergency? Very unlikely, I know, but still a statistical possibility. Some billionaires create philanthropic ventures where all their assets are tied. That does make them look good in the media, but they are still businesses despite their good goals. Actually selling those businesses or assets would trigger one of the biggest tax events in the history. Seems pretty grim, but it's just one interpretation of this situation. This is meant to be a thought provoker. There are still countless numbers of business models that just cannot function without human workers. Or at least they'll be dependent on us till the distant future. I do hope that these innovations were just that, innovations, and financial gain is the side product. Nevertheless, we must not forget the positive impact that these technologies have, such as allowing us to save so many lives, allowing us to research and model the world, the diseases, the cures, and our own universe. Due to these progressions, we're able to enjoy the quality lifestyle that we do. Conclusion that we derive from this can be pretty subjective. I hope my estimate about the future is wrong. But at the very least, we must consider all of the implications. While solving one problem, how many do we create? And at the end, is the net final product worth it?